So I had to give some love to some of the old GT3s. So first off is the Z4. I was able to do a 216.6 with this, with a possibility, I think, of a 216.3. Like I mean, you can see from the clips that I mean the lap was definitely far from perfect. I definitely missed a couple apexes and a few spots, like at La Source and coming into the first bend of Sector 2. But yeah, like there's definitely room for improvement. But yeah, like in terms of this car, you can see that time is still like a second or over a second slower than what the top cars are doing on this track. Which again isn't the end of the world. It's not just all about lap times, it's also about what else it can offer. It still drives quite nicely, but I do feel like I had to get used to the fact that I have to drive this car quite aggressive to turn it around. I feel like I did get some understeer in entry and a little bit in mid as well, and it also helped for me to get the car to turn. I felt like I had to get on the throttle quite early. Getting on throttle early with this car helps the car rotate a little bit better on corner exit, and to counter the fact that there's a bit of mid-corner understeer, so that definitely take that in mind. But remember, I'm not experienced with this sort of car, so this is only after about an hour and a half's worth of like just giving the car a little try and around the track. So all you Z4 professionals out there, please, I'm sure you guys can do a much better job than I can. Just talking on my experiences. But yeah, so I mean, you can see it's similar pace to like the Audi, the M6. It's like those one, it suffers a little bit in terms of top speed, but it's got good cornering speed. The R8, yeah, I think the R8 and the M6 pretty much have like pretty much similar or the same sort of like top speed on this track anyway. And yeah, I guess with the R8, again with all these cars, I do feel like you can attack corners with them, which is good. What else? In terms of fuel, it's good, but it's not great. It's on this track it uses 3.55 liters per lap roughly. A little bit more, a little bit less, but it'll be generally thereabouts. Comparing that to the M6, which is 3.35. That's the best. And you've got the 911, which comes at 3.45, then the Z4 3.55, Audi R8 comes in at 3.6, the Bentley 3.85, AMG 4.25, and then the C7 4.6. So it's definitely towards the better side in terms of like fuel economy. But the thing that kind of, I wouldn't say kills it, but just kind of nullifies that advantage is that it has the smallest tank. So the biggest tank you got here is the C7 with 120, and generally the cars are rolling between 120 and 115, but the Z4 has a tank of 110, so it suffers a little bit in terms of how many laps you can get out of it. With a full tank, like it'll still be better than the C7s, the AMGs, the Bentleys, but it won't be as good as the M6s, the 911s, and the Audi R8s. So that needs to be taken into consideration. So I'd say for a 60-minute race, you're going to need 96 liters with this car, whereas with the M6 you'd need 91, and with the R8 you'd need 98, and obviously worst case scenario, with the C7 you'd need 125. So there's that. So yeah, it's a good endurance car. It's basically there in terms of like what it offers. It's going to be a very good endurance car, but its advantage over the cars that aren't very good in terms of fuel isn't as good as the other cars that are very good endurance cars. So for example, the other endurance good cars are the M6, the 911, and the Audi. Now the Z4 is obviously going to be better than the Bentley, the AMG, and the C7, but the Audi still has a better tank in terms of like it uses slightly more fuel, but it has a bigger tank, so it will have to refuel less. And the 911 has, I personally think I did a similar time, but I'm pretty sure that I could do like a very low 16 to a high 15 with that car. So it has the potential of being very fast in the right hands. And then the M6 obviously has a decent tank size, uses the least amount of fuel out of all the cars. So you know, it definitely trumps everything else there. So yeah, it does have an advantage again over the Bentley AMG and C7 and Z06, but not as much as the others. You'd only really be driving this car if you're probably more so a fan of it. But it doesn't, out of all the endurance cars, I'd probably say it's the worst. Not worse in terms of like it's bad, it's just not as good as the others. So that definitely needs to be taken into consideration. But yeah, I mean, really, I do like the car. It is very fun to drive. You just got to make sure that you drive it like you're you know, drive it really aggressively, throw it around those corners. You can't be shy with this car. Being shy will just slow you down too much, or it slowed me down anyway. So but yeah, anything else I've forgotten? I mean, like I said, you can see in the laps that I was doing, yeah, I did pretty good, and it was hard to sort of like tell whether I was doing good or not. But obviously, like I said, the more I was throwing it around the corner and getting on the throttle early, the better the lap times were getting. So you know, just you know, just don't be shy. You know, don't be shy. You don't have to be as pinpoint accurate as you do with the 911. You don't have to be as careful on the exit as you do with the Audi R8, because the Audi R8 has quite a bit of understeer on exit. But yeah. But anyway, you know, it's old, but it's not completely out of the picture. It still offers quite a bit of competitiveness in terms of balance with all the other cars, I guess. You know, I guess it obviously slower in terms of lap time, but you know, again, it's shown to be a decent endurance car anyway. So you know, don't let those numbers fool you. But anyway, I think the next car I'll probably do is the Bentley, to see how that goes. But yeah, man. Anyway, thanks for watching. I mean, oh, sorry, yeah. One thing I forgot to mention is the setup that I'm using is very oversteery. Like I've to help me with the understeer on exit and mid, like I've made it quite oversteery. So for a lot of people, this may not be your cup of tea. It's probably the most what's the word I'm looking for here? Most oversteery or it feels like the most unstable setup because of how much oversteer you can get with the car. But then I feel like that made it easier for me to cope with the understeer of the car. But you know, your mileage may vary, but consider yourself warned, it may not be your cup of tea. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.